If you have ever spent money after a long day, splurged on a designer item after a breakup, or treated yourself to a really expensive dinner after a promotion, that is revenge spending. And it is one of the most interesting psychological phenomena in money. I'm a certified financial planner. I talk about money psychology, and I want to talk about why our brains are literally wired to crave it. When you experience an emotional setback or like a negative emotion, your body releases cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And this kind of puts you in a vulnerable state where your prefrontal cortex, which is kind of the rational decision-making part of your brain, takes a back seat to your limbic system, which is all about emotional processing. So shopping can therefore then trigger dopamine, which creates this rush of pleasure that kind of temporarily eases or masks your emotional pain. And it's really not just you. Studies have shown that retail therapy can genuinely elevate mood in the short term. And so then what happens is your brain kind of learns this pattern where, you feel bad, you buy something, and then you feel better. And just like that, a coping mechanism is born. And for a lot of people, revenge spending isn't just about feeling good, it is about reclaiming power. When you feel small or rejected, spending money and getting a tangible item makes you feel like you're back in control and you have a sense of agency. And there is something uniquely satisfying about having a new item that you can claim as your own. And on top of this, our consumer culture really perfectly wires us or primes us for this behavior. I mean, we are being constantly bombarded by ads and messages about new products that will transform our lives. And that kind of feeds into the whole like treat yourself culture. It kind of gives us permission societally to spend as an emotional reaction. But obviously the problem with all this is that dopamine wears off and then we're kind of left with the financial impacts of spending money. And studies have shown that, emotional spending can drive credit card debt, it can drive depleted savings, just really negative financial outcomes. It can even like damage relationships. Like if you're kind of emotionally spending money and your partner doesn't know, just all types of sort of negative outcomes. So how do you break out of this feedback loop? The first is to just recognize your emotional spending triggers. Is it work stress? Is it relationship stress? Family stress? Awareness is kind of the first step to interrupting this feedback loop that you've built. Something that's really worked for me in terms of emotional spending, and I always recommend to other people, is the 24-hour rule. So set like a money limit, like $100, $50. And if you are planning on spending over that amount, take 24 hours before you actually swipe that amount. A lot of times it will kind of eliminate that urge or that impulse to spend, and it will prevent you from impulse spending.